righty, welcome in, friends. Monday, hot Monday. Lots of good stuff going on, lots to share with you. Lewis and I couldn't wait to start this show, so we started it a little early. We were chatting beforehand and just trying to get our feet under us. There's just so much to talk about. So I'm going to bring him in. Why wait? Lewis Herms, how are you, my friend? It's good to see you.
I am fantastic. I want to mention a beautiful comment. Denise Volbracht must have been reading my mind. Thank you, Denise. She put time to get uncomfortable and bring it, truth and justice. I couldn't say it any better, Denise. That's exactly what we need right now. We have extreme momentum right now. It's all heading towards we people. The question is, when they throw the ball to you, are you going to catch it, drop it, or ignore it and get hit in the face by it?
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. I'm very, very excited about the direction we are going. Yes, there's scary times ahead. We need to keep our vibration high, and we need to show everybody that we, the people, are in control. That's your political pundits. That's your educational group. That is your police forces. Everybody needs to know that we, the people, are in control. They all work for us. All of them. Even the Fortune 1000 companies. So this is our time. I'm very, very excited about it.
Really is. And good message too. I really like that video you picked for our opening segment here. Is a really good message to share with people. So thank you for finding that. And I'm trying to get our audio up. It looks a little low to me. See if we could pump it up. There we go.
Pump it up.
Pump it up. Pump it up. How far away are you from your microphone, Lewis? 6
not
inches,
very
8 inches?
far, but I could put it closer.
Yeah, maybe try that.
How's that work?
Oh, I hear the whispering.
How's that work? Got me.
So, guys, if you're seeing Lewis and his lip sync is a little bit off, that's one of our internet connections that had a problem on Friday. Had a tree grow in the way, and I had to move the dish, and it's not 100% dialed in yet, but we have the guy coming out, and he'll dial it in for us. So, bear with us on that.
He's got a guy. He's got a guy.
Robbins
got a guy.
I got a guy. You know, it's okay. If you got a guy, you're good. How was your weekend?
My weekend was amazing.
Okay, good. Tell me.
So how was yours?
Busy weekend. Lots going on, lots of work to be done, and we hit just about 100 degrees here yesterday, so roasted a little bit, but hot and dry. That's what it is here during the summer. It's funny because the pattern here is at the end of June we'll get this spike in heat, and it's temperate during the summer, nice, and then again Labor Day weekend, bam, another hit, and then we have a nice fall. It's just a weird pattern, anyway. We're in that hot spot right now.
I just saying though, this is the first time in about a year I think we've turned on our air conditioner here, and that is very odd for Southern California. If anybody's familiar with that, you know, usually your full summer you have it on, and maybe September, a little bit October, March, April, a little bit. Not for about a year. It's been wacky, and today it is super hot. So if I'm sweating, guys, I'm drinking my iced tea. Yay, Lewis. And then I'm using the condensation from the iced tea to wipe my head too. So it's all good.
Well, you look good. That's all that matters, right?
I do damn well, don't I?
You do look good. So, hey, this is...
I asked my wife to cut my hair really short now for the summer, and she did a wonderful job this morning. Look at that. Go wifey. So everybody tell me how great my hair looks, not for my ego, but for my wife's.
Everybody's got an ego. What's up with that? I don't know. Kind of strange, but we all need that little ego stroke once in a while, don't we?
That's the light oil. Yes, I prefer to fill my cup with heavy oil, but every once in a while, little light oil, pat somebody on the back, it'll make them feel good.
Make them feel, exactly. I mean, that's what we're here to do. We're make people feel good. We live in a very strange state. Out of all the states, 40 million here in California, probably closer to 50 now with all the illegals that have come across. We don't know what the real number is. Nobody says anything here. It's very quiet. Nobody talks about it. It's like the biggest secret that nobody wants to talk about here in California. Well, not only is that number weird, but in financial news, we found out that California reveals that all the job gains in 2023 were, wait for it, what's the F word?
Well, I have a lot, but I was going to say
Fake.
illegal alien. I was going to say illegal aliens. What are you saying, foreigners?
So all the job gains in 2023 were fake. I couldn't believe this when I read this story. I'm like, you got to
Oh,
be
right.
kidding me. You know, this is really what we're looking at here. We're looking at fake job numbers. So this is from Zero Hedge. According to the latest report published by the nonpartisan California Legislative Analyst's Office, LAO, which is an agency of the California government, is overseen by the Joint Legislative Budget Committee of California State Legislature, and performs and publishes extensive analyses of the state's budget in addition to providing fiscal and policy advice to the California legislature. Contrary to prior reports of substantial job gains in the Deep Blue State in 2023, the reality was far uglier. And a report titled "The Newest Early Jobs Revision Shows No Net Job Growth During 23." We learned that early revisions to state-level data flagged here previously suggest that California actually lost jobs during the fourth quarter of the year. Get this, the report details, based on the most recent release of the early benchmarks, payroll jobs declined by 32,000 from September to December of 23. The preliminary report said they were up 117,000 jobs at the time. No, it was minus 32,000. Wow. There's lying, and then there's, what the heck is this?
Well, you know, you've got Fox News telling you that Biden's 2% ahead. So the line is pervasive. But but common sense is not, and that's really what we have to get back to. Because if anybody understands inflation, we've had a massive inflation in California over the last couple of years. Where there's inflation, if the numbers are correct, there's a job reduction, not a job increase.
Right.
So how exactly does that work? People don't ask the question. They just go, okay, I understand. That sounds good, right? That's right. Gavin Newsom got 66.6% of the vote, even though we got 2 million signatures and not one person said out loud they voted for him. Okay. I mean, that's how it is. And the deep state cabal, the satanic deep state cabal, knows this. They know how apathetic we are and how lazy we are and that we don't want to do the work. So they keep going and going and going and going. So it's that's the battle I think we have right now, Robert. And Ethan and I will be going over that on tomorrow's show. Is the battle really is creating the mindset so people understand that we can take our power back ourselves and don't be lazy anymore. And you cannot rely on anything. I say, don't rely on me. Do the work yourself and check it out yourself. If I can point you in the right direction to a link or something that helps you, I'll be doing that. If I may get you some information or some teaching on how to wake people up, that's fantastic. We'll do that. My wife and I, we were put in a position this weekend, and I was joking. I said afterwards, I said, honey, that was a master class on how to wake people up. So we had 3 people in a room, and I always say, speak to them where they are. None of these people knew us, right? One was a manager of the business, another guy was a salesperson, and another one was kind of a newbie. And we were talking to him, and somebody said, so what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh God, every time they ask me, that's an interesting question. So I just said, I travel the country is what I do to wake people up about our corrupt government cabal system. And of course, the ears and the eyes go up. And by the way, one liberal was in a room, one person from another country was in a room, probably seen some communism, and there's a white bald guy in there. And they're like, really? I go, yeah, my platform's called screwbiggov.com. Oh, there the eyes get really big. What was that? The eyes get really big. So then I said, I'm going to throw out some prompts, right, to see where I called it the audience where those 3 people are at. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah. So we're teaching people about this most awake. Have you ever heard? I said, oh, next. I said, you know what I won't tell you yet? And he's like, what's that? I go, I won't tell you about adrenochrome. I said, you're not ready for it. He's like, what? And of course, my wife is, let me tell you about adrenochrome. So she gave him a little information about it and then said, go do your research. So to me, that was a master class, if we can say so ourselves, in waking people up. You have to understand your room. You have to understand the people that you're surrounded with. And it was amazing. All three of them were extremely engaged, asking for the website, wanting to learn more, right? So we have the tools in front of us. But I have to be honest, 2 years ago, none of them probably would have paid attention to that conversation.
Right.
There is a sea change going on in the world right now where people are opening up to these conversations. So this is where we really need to get uncomfortable, like Denise says, and take it to them. This is our opportunity.
It is, well, two things. Number one, this is how Tony Robbins does his work. And you look at, if you're ever in his live events and he does an intervention with somebody, who's he talking to? The person he's doing the intervention with, or everybody else in the room? He's really talking to everybody else in the room. Just happens to be talking to that one person who's up on stage, right? So you never talk directly at them, but they have to hear it because they're in the room, they're listening to it, and they get a lot of value from it. That's how you can train large audiences in this stuff. Mm-hmm. Number two, we have turned a corner because, and I've talked about this since the beginning, this is in their lap now where it wasn't so much before. A little bit like that video today. Not my problem, doesn't affect me, don't care. Now all of a sudden, people are going to the grocery store and they're freaking out that things are not double, sometimes triple and sometimes quadruple the price that it once was. And they're seeing it. You know, the gas price is a little bit down, but we're pulling more oil out of the strategic petroleum reserves to keep the price artificially low because, hey, it's an election year, right? So that's the game that's played. Every president's played this, throughout history. So we're playing that game. So the gas is a little bit low. It's about $5 a gallon here, which I think for some people is shocking. But that's California $5 a gallon, right? It's the way it is here. So now that this is falling in their laps and they're being hit across the face with a wet towel of the LGBTQ, and they don't want to be bothered with any of that stuff, but it's in their face day in, day out. They're watching their institutions as the more and more unfolds. They're seeing what Disney was really about. They're starting to see that, there's so much data now coming up on the elections, right? Of that whole thing, and there's still deniers out there. We get it. There's still people who are fighting to the last second, to the last breath, thinking it's fine. It was perfectly fine. But people are recognizing it. They're like, nobody voted for this. Nobody voted for what we're seeing now. And even the staunchest people are starting to ask questions. It may take them a few years before they get it, but you're right, the tide has changed and shifted now, and a lot more people are open to the conversation where they were not before. So where it was scary in 2020 to have the conversation, not so much anymore.
Yeah, and then we have people that get triggered, like VCD 1776 says, I resent your lazy remarks, Lewis. Some of us do not have your luxury of staying at home, glued to a laptop. We have to work. Okay, fantastic. Well, when I was working 60 hours a week, I was making documentaries and I was online and I was raising children all at the same time. So don't underestimate what I could do when I'm working. Laziness is pervasive in American society right now. That's a fact. If you took it personal, that's your issue. I wasn't talking to you directly. I was generalizing of laziness. The fact that you took it personal means you're projecting there's something that you're worried about. You don't have to be behind your laptop. You could wake people up at work. You could wake up people when you're driving. It could be your family. You can pray for people. You can manifest. There's so much you can do. The fact that you're taking that personal speaks volumes about you. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about we the people. If you can just chip in a little bit, that's great. So don't take the statement of lazy personal. That's generalizing. And nobody can debate that Americans aren't lazy when it comes to fighting the cabal. Nobody can debate that. That's a general statement, but it's also a true statement. So do not take it personal. Do the best you can do. With love, we will support you immensely. But don't you dare project on me and say, because I have access to a laptop all day long, you do not live my life. You don't know how much I work and how many times I've gotten 2 to 3 hours of sleep because I'm working so hard trying to wake people up. So I resent your assumption.
Yeah, that's, the question that comes up a lot is what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And it's not overly difficult to figure it out. I mean, there's need for help everywhere. And it's kind of the next project that I'm getting involved in now is really going to be helping with that, answering that question specifically, because I know a lot of people have been asking it since the beginning of this, and they want to pitch in, they want to do something. And, like I said, take a friend out for coffee. Go have a conversation, right? And spread the word. If you spread it one person at a time, one person here, one person there, you're doing your part. If you've got the ability to have an audience and you've got the ability to speak on camera, do that. A little TikTok video, a 2-minute video. You won't believe what just happened in SCOTUS today. Bam, you've got a little video. Bang, it goes out. It goes viral. You see so many people who are average people who would never consider. I didn't see myself doing this work either, but desperate times, right? We jump in where we're needed. So I just took my skills and I'm using them in the way best way I know how to use them, and that'll change and that'll morph depending on what's needed. All of us have skill. All of us have ability. Yeah. And if it's nothing, then giving somebody a hug, you know what I mean? Do that.
That's it. That's it. Spread a high vibration. The reality is if I'm honest, I would much rather have not lost a $2 million business, because while I was doing the business, I did a truth tour and I did videos waking people up. I would much rather have just kept the $2 million business, finally started making some money from that, because we just paid off our debt. We're going to collect a check when I was stupid enough to start the truth tours and we lost everything. Right? So yeah, but what's more important is giving our country back, because in the future I wouldn't even have the business anyways.
Yeah.
Right? So I think people really should think before they speak. This is so much bigger than us. It is huge. If we don't turn this around, it could go either way right now, right? If we don't turn this around, we lose everything, not for ourselves, forget that. Everything for all the generations to come.
So there was a video
and
posted.
The last thing I need.
If we heard explosions, blah, 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 they would say that in private, but would never come out publicly. And he asked them, why? Why wouldn't you come out and let us know 24 years ago, 23 years ago, whatever, 22 years ago when this happened? Mm-hmm. Why didn't they speak up? And it's always the same reason. It's the same reason the Border Patrol doesn't do anything. They're just going along with it because of what? They want their salary and they want their pension. It's the same thing. They did not want to lose it. So they're like, it's too risky to do that. I can't put my family at risk. So they want us to button up. I'm buttoning up. It's not time for that now.
Yesterday, people asked my wife and I, they said, well, why would you risk the fact that I couldn't barely get on a plane for 2 years because they would pull me out of line every single time? Why would you risk the FBI being at your house? Why would you risk being stalked by a 3-letter company we assume was probably the FBI for 1.5 years in front of our house? Just this morning, we were wondering, because maybe because we're triggered, we don't know. My wife is even wondering, I wonder if we're being watched again because there's somebody out there making really weird things and sitting in front of our house. Why would we risk all that? Why would you risk getting poisoned 2 times? Because it's not about us. That's why we're risking it, guys.
Yeah.
This battle is about humanity for the future. We have to do everything, or your children and all generations.
If I knew I could save just one life. And, it's like, if you want to be reminded why we're doing this, that's why we're doing this. Right?
Totally agree. Absolutely.
Anyway, this was supposed to happen at 7 minutes past the hour. We're now at 333. So why not? Let's talk about our buddy Matt Geiger. No fake news here, no fake numbers here. He will help you talk about investing in gold and silver. If that's what you'd like to do, you convert your existing retirement or IRA or 401k, whatever you've got, help you transfer it to a gold back rather than just a stock backed investment. Can reach him at MidasGoldGroup.com. One way of doing that, better to call him, 480-725-0536. Matt's a good friend. He's a great guy, and we'll have him back on the show again because he knows his stuff and he's not afraid to share. All right. Shall we get into news today?
News? What news? There's something going on out there?
There's no news. Well, you know, if you want to keep up on the news, ScrewBigGov is a place to go, as Lewis has been promoting to people he doesn't know, which I think is fantastic. ScrewBigGov.com, place to go. You'll find these social media links there. You can follow him on social because hard to find us sometimes. Our accounts get banned and shadow banned and all the rest of it. You could find me on Telegram at Renegade Media or Renegade Media, Robert at renegademedia.tv if you prefer to email. Always like to read your emails. A lot of great comments over the past couple of weeks. I've been really enjoying it. All right. Into the news we go. This is odd that there's no mainstream media coverage, and I think this is a big deal. Maybe I'm just being biased. I don't know. But it says in a 6-3 decision issued, and he said today, but I changed it to Friday because this was on Friday. Interesting. I had to wait the whole weekend to tell you about this. The Supreme Court ruled that, number one, a jury must be what? Unanimous in its findings on a criminal conviction. Was the jury in the Donald Trump case in New York City unanimous? No, it was not. Interesting. Number two, sentencing enhancements cannot be arbitrarily implemented by judicial fiat. What happened in all the January 6 cases? Judicial enhancements, you know, you get the charge for trespassing and then they added this and they added that and all of a sudden, you know, it's 36 years in jail. Can't do that. So my question here, Lewis, and this is a conversation we can have, what's been coming up a lot in the areas I've been focused in, people are saying we are living now in a post-constitutional United States. So I'm asking this question, if this came out from the Supreme Court, that these things are unconstitutional, shouldn't the case in New York have automatically then been overturned against Trump, the conviction overturned? Shouldn't the January 6 prisoners be walking free today? What's your thought?
100%. Yeah, 100%. But we are living in, really, I mean, you can go all the way back to 1871 if you want to say we're living in a post constitutional realm, because the reality is we've been living in under a corporation rule, which is see, the U.S. is a captured operation. That's what I think people don't understand, and it's very it's hard to grasp that sometimes, and I do understand that, or I understand. Sorry, but the reality.
I'm going to ask you to put your tinfoil hat on and turn around in a minute. I'm going to call you Juan, but okay, keep going.
Yeah, right. So the reality is this absolutely should have immediately overturned anything that they're referencing. And the fact that it doesn't means the Supreme Court may, and I'm not saying will, they have every once in a while brought cases back within front of them, and then they've ruled on what the penalties would be. So they may bring this back up and say, okay, you must act now. You must reverse this decision. You must do this. And here's the penalties if you don't. Now, that will take it apart. That will be very interesting if that was to happen, because then we really have to pay attention. I believe that the deep state entities will take it a lot farther than they should. Now, they could all be playing a part, by the way. So we do understand that. We're not naive to that fact. But whether they're playing a part or not, I think this is going to be taken farther than normally it should to help wake people up and maybe help people understand. So we'll see. I think this is a huge ruling, though.
Yeah, and there's more rulings coming out, presidential immunity among them, coming out this Wednesday, and it looks like they're going to drop the rulings, their decisions on these things, and then they're going to skip town on the cover of darkness. It looks like they're afraid what's going to happen. Both sides are expecting uprisings when these things come out, because nobody's going to be happy no matter which way it goes. If presidential immunity is a thing, then a lot of the charges against Trump go away. I mean, that comes out, then this came out Friday, it's all gone at that point. Now, if it isn't, if presidential immunity isn't a thing, then the charges stick, and then, you know, this whole charade continues. So it's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be a hot week. It's going to be fiery no matter how we look at it. And we're not even talking about the stuff that's happening in Ukraine and Russia, right? That's just, you know, more blather, more distraction, I think, from the things that really matter. This decision was not anywhere. It wasn't even on Gateway Pundit, which I found surprising. It's like, why wouldn't you be covering this? It's one of the biggest stories, I think, of the year. If now
why wouldn't
it's go ahead.
Why wouldn't you be why wouldn't you be covering it is the question.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. There's entities out there that we think are on our side that are controlled opposition. Let's go back to 2020. The year before the elections, even the truthers were thinking that Fox News was on our side.
Yeah.
And they showed their true colors on election day. It's the exact same thing. There's different entities out there that I will not name that you need to pay attention to that are drawing. So controlled opposition, guys, works in two ways. They bring as much market share as they possibly can to divert you from other messaging, and then when the time comes, they crush your soul, or they attempt to. Right? The other way controlled opposition does is they'll play you the stories that you want to hear, but they'll tweak each little story in a certain direction that diverts your attention. A great one that you're going to be seeing a lot now, two actually, you're going to be seeing a lot about UFOs in the controlled opposition media, right? But then they'll tweak you in a direction that they want to take you. They'll do it over and over and over. Another one that I'm seeing is pervasive right now, people should pay attention. Have you noticed that the 9/11 narrative is now going back to the Saudis who were in charge of it? Isn't that interesting? And by the way, those are your truthers that you were the ones. Look at Trump went over there and he got them to capitulate first. Be careful of that narrative. We know there's a huge Mossad Israeli involvement, right? And to say that 19 Saudis are the ones that took down the towers, they didn't. We don't even know if the actual planes hit the towers at this point, in some cases, right? So be very careful of these narratives. These controlled opposition are trying to tweak you in a certain direction, and they're acting like they're your friend, right? You're going to start hearing them talk about adrenochrome, but then they're going to pull you away from a certain. And you know what they're really going to do? By the way, I mentioned this in Cages. Here's a game that they play all the time we need to pay attention to. The controlled opposition, anybody that's connected to the structure, though. That's what controlled opposition does. They understand how powerful our narratives are. They understand people are waking up. So they use our momentum to their advantage. Be very careful in the future. These are things to look at.
Not even the future, in the present too. I mean, we're seeing it already happening, like you said about the Saudis. I mean, I saw that over the weekend too, and I'm like, that's an old narrative. We're beyond that already. We know better.
Yep.
You know, they're just reviving it. It's almost like, you know, you're got to bring people through the whole process. So you went through there, and the people like us who are on the leading edge of this, we've been through it, and now it's like, well, the ones just coming in, now we're going to take them through that same process again. It's like, can't we just get them where we are? Can't we just start there?
Yeah. Just and stay there. But so they're trying to reverse our good work, and we just can't let them do that.
Yeah. Now we got to keep going forward, and it's getting tougher. You know, there's a story we have today about TikTok banning a video that should never have been banned, and it's like, okay, so is TikTok on our side? Is it not on our side? Apparently they're not. But I never thought they were. I mean, I don't have a TikTok account. It's the only social media I don't play on, interestingly enough. But it is what it is. Yeah, doors are closing, not just on us, though. So
Yep.
we
We just
talked.
need to use them all to our advantage. And you and I have talked about this, and I actually had a talk with Mark Atwood this morning. By the way, he will be on our show Thursday, guys. So I talked to Mark this morning, and we just can't be concerned with the numbers. We just have to be doing what's right, and God's going to take care of the rest, right? Because they suppress us, they don't. We just need to work as hard to. So Robert and I are dedicated to bring you the best content on the web, bar none. That's what we're dedicated to do. If we get the numbers, we get them. If we don't, hey, at least we know that our conscience is clear because we did our best.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, we talked about the October 7th event, and we talked a lot about it being planned. Well, there's a story out from the Jerusalem Post, I think this came out on Friday, saying that the IDF knew, Israel Defense Force, knew of Hamas's plan to kidnap 250 before the October 7th attack. Gee, another conspiracy coming true. What is this, Lewis?
You mean you and I are vindicated again?
How is this even possible?
That's funny. We said it the same day.
Yep.
We said, this is what's happening. Oh, you guys are crazy. We are crazy. And suddenly, now it's another vindication. That's why you guys should just shut down all channels and just watch here.
Just watch here. That's it. You know, we got the
That's
goods.
it. That's it. We've got your back. It's funny though.
So
it
this
is funny.
from
I
the
saw the story come out too, and I'm like, okay, there's more vindication.
Yeah. This is from the Jerusalem Post. The IDF had precise information about Hamas's intentions, not just kind of sort of precise information, but due to prevailing conceptions, they won't pull it off. The security establishment and possible negligence by officials, the warning signs were not acted on. They weren't acted on because it was part of the plan. They were in on it too. A newly surfaced document has revealed that the Israeli Defense Force and intelligence systems had detailed knowledge of Hamas's plan to raid Israel and kidnap 250 people. They had this weeks before the October 7th massacre. The document, which was compiled by the Gaza division, outlined Hamas's intentions and was known to top intelligence officials, according to a report by Con News. The document, titled Detailed End-to-End Raid Training, pretty specific there, was distributed on September 19th of 23 and described in detail the series of exercises conducted by Hamas's elite units. The IDF had precise information about their intentions, but due to prevailing conceptions, decided to do nothing. The report further detailed that Israeli intelligence officials monitored the exercise and documented the steps Hamas had planned to take after breaching Israeli territory and taking over military posts. They expected the number of hostages, according to the document, was between 200 and 250 people, which is exactly what happened. They had the plan.
Funny enough, multiple times in the story, you said, and they did nothing.
They did nothing.
Well, they did do something. They did. No, they did. They knew the attack was coming, and they moved their troops
Out of the way.
from the point in the border that they knew that they would enter. So they actively did something. Children are in there to bring it all down to rubble. Could there be an ulterior motive here, like trying to create the new Suez Canal that has ships moving both ways, which will bring in $1 trillion to the region? I don't know. But this is if you're bleeding blue and white Israel colors, maybe you should just take a breath for a second and just ask other questions. I'm not telling you to go pro-Palestine. I'm not telling you to go anti-Israel. I'm telling you to be open to this may not be what you think it is, right?
And that's the whole thing, right? So all of us at this stage really need to be saying all that we're seeing is not as it appears. And it's true in every direction. And a lot of us are going to be in for a rude awakening as more and more of this stuff comes to light. I mean, for instance, remember the postal driver who had the 18-wheeler and he said it was full of ballots that were from Long Island and he was driving them into Pennsylvania. And the media discredited him. He lost his job. They went after him and everything. Well, guess what happened last week? They said, oh, it was true. It was filled up with ballots that were all filled out for Biden and were never mailed. that were run through the system and just counted. Right? So all this
Okay.
vindication is coming up.
Well, 6 months ago, I said it's all going to end up in Georgia and Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly where the hot spots are right now. It's Georgia and Pennsylvania, right? That was just a download. So I don't know where I got the information from. I just kept hearing Georgia, Pennsylvania. I even told people on air, like, I don't know what's going on. I just keep hearing Georgia, Pennsylvania. I really don't know why. There's no method to it. No, there's no logic. It's just Georgia, Pennsylvania. But that's exactly where it's hammering right now.
Yeah.
It looks like Georgia's about ready to go down, and Pennsylvania. So, but here's what the CIA, DARPA, Tavistock controlled media does, right? They understand. Again, they're very intelligent. We cannot put that past them. They may not be so creative, but they're very, very intelligent. These Satanists are intelligent. Here's what they do. They understand, especially with our microwave society, smartphone attitudes. They know that a story is only going to last a day.
Yep.
Maybe. So if they can shut it down with lies big time, we believe it for the rest of our lives. And then when the truth comes out a couple of years later, which it inevitably does, we don't connect that, hey, they lied to us about this. We go, oh, wow, that's horrible. Oh, well, that's old news. It's a couple of years ago. We've already moved on.
Yep.
They've studied the human psychology to depths that you can never believe. So they know exactly what they're doing with this.
Yep, they have. And I think one of the saddest days in history is when the government learned about marketing.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah, good point.
I laughed when they had the Can-Spam Act back in 2003. I said, all they forgot is the word you in front of that. Because that's really what it was. I'm not going to can spam and stop it. It's you can spam. Just follow these two little rules and you could spam all day long. And spam never went away. It got worse after that. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I see you have a helper with your work.
Who's that?
Reggie. Look at him helping you out.
My wife is crazy.
It's a beautiful photo. I love that shirt, by the way. Great color on you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So every once in a while, I like to get out and get a little fresh air in the middle of my work. Yes, folks, I recognize I'm wearing shoes because wherever I came from, I was wearing shoes. So I'm not grounded, but I was getting the fresh air. And my teeny little puppy, Reggie, my 165-pound teeny puppy, came to visit me. And then I guess Mom probably came out there and saw us both. And when we saw her, we looked up and she got the perfect timing of the picture. And I'm not mansplaining, by the way.
Good. That'll get you in trouble. Hey, July 4th is coming up. And our friends at Pet Club 24/7 just came out with a new product that may be of interest to all of our dog lovers. CBD. CB doggies, they're calling them. CBD has been shown to have a calming effect on nerves and can enhance brain function. Why would you want that around 4th of July? Because you have fireworks and right, all that kind of thing happening, and the dogs kind of freak out with that kind of noise, right? We hear stories again and again and again about that, and guys, literally. So they came out with this new thing, CB doggies, would have CBD in them. They feature a beef and cheddar recipe with 2.5 milligrams of CBD per supplement. Tasty supplements are made with old-fashioned way using locally Southern California sourced ingredients. We grow a lot of that here. We carefully make our treats without any fillers, no corn, no soy, no added sugars, no salt, no artificial preservatives, no glycerin, no waxes, and no hydrogenated oils. I've not tried it yet. It just came out. I think they just announced it this morning, actually. You can go over. The link is in the description, and you can find out more about this cool new product, plus the food as well.
Brilliant. I'm literally writing it down that I'm going to buy that today for our 3 dogs because there is an issue on July 4th for sure.
Yep, no question. No question.
Thank you. I didn't even think of that.
We love our furry babies. I had to put up a barrier to keep Trumper off the desk here when I'm doing live, because just sit on the keyboard and things just go haywire. No, what happened to the stream? Well, it was Thumper's fault. Sorry about that, guys. So sorry. I'm tossing this one over to you, Lewis. Tyler Cherry. Whew. The White House's new Associate Communications Director. What is up with this guy? Look at this guy. What in the heck?
Wow. I'm getting all hot and bothered just looking at it.
Yeah. I'm going to lose my lunch in a minute is what I think's happening.
This is Tyler Cherry, the communications director for the White House, right? The good news, guys, this is the type of confirmation you get when you know the white hats are running things. Because I either that, or as I say, let's even assume they're not, the deep state is getting their butts kicked so much they're just throwing everything against the wall right now. I don't know who's throwing him against the wall, and I don't want to know. But it's absolutely amazing that this is their communications director. Do we have? Are you going to play the? I showed you an image of the Department of Education on Facebook, because this would correlate to this.
Yep, I have that one up.
So maybe we could put that up now.
Let's jump ahead here. Yes, it's just one slide up, so no big deal.
Yeah, it makes sense to link those two together.
Yeah.
So this is Facebook. This is actually them. I verified it. I didn't take anybody's word for it. My wife went to Facebook. We looked at it together. That is your U.S. Department of Education. And what flag is that right behind their black cube, if you know what I mean? That is the pride flag. The Department of Education is meant for one thing, and one thing. It's absolutely to indoctrinate our children. That is a perfect example of it. It's right there on the face. Thank you, President Trump, for once again announcing that your plan is to abolish the Department of Education. Now, I posted this today on X, and some fool replied, "Name one indoctrination." I'm like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding? Just go look at the flag, the pride flag on their actual Facebook page. Do I need to say more? I mean, it's crazy. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be very clear, and I know some very right-wing people get upset with this. I don't give a damn if you're gay. It's inconsequential. It's the indoctrination of this. If people need to understand, it's intentional. It's the color revolution is why they push it so heavy in Hollywood and throughout education. They don't give a damn about the people. They don't care the ramifications to the so-called LGBTQ plus LMNOP XYZ community. They don't care about that. They purely care about the color revolution and the indoctrination of everybody, because it gives them an opportunity to shame you if you don't agree with their trans movement, whereas it was ultimately their game plan is to get men in women's sports to actually eliminate the man, pull the man down in regards to confidence and feeling like you're the man of the household. Same thing they did in the inner cities with blacks and Hispanics. The exact same thing. Now it's just a different way to do the color revolution. That's all we need to know. So yeah, leave our kids alone. Sorry, let the parents take care of that business. It has zero to do with education, you sons of bitches. Hi, I'm back.
The biggest threat to them in any respect that I can think of is a person who can think independently and think for themselves. That scares them the most. So the indoctrination is critical to their process because they want everyone thinking the same way, believing the same thing. And they're going to feed the beliefs to them, the kids, the mush brains as I call them, because their brains are a little mushy at that age and they can be fed anything. And that becomes the construct for them as they become quote unquote productive adults. Well, they're just cogs in a bigger wheel. It's the independent thinker, the person who thinks outside the box, who creates the innovation, who creates the change, who isn't controllable, by the system. That's what they're scared of. They're scared of that person. That happens to be us,
All
Louis,
right.
the independent thinker.
Last week I got a lot of heat. Last week I got a lot of heat because Ethan Lucas said Q-tards, and I believe he was referring to the people that were putting out the wrong message, not to the people that believe in Q, because he actually believes in Q and what Q is teaching. And today I got you saying mush brains, so I know there'll be some backlash on that, but I understand exactly what you're saying. I hope people don't take it the wrong way.
No, mush brains is just their brains are not formed yet, and they can be easily influenced, right? So when you're an adult, then you're like your beliefs are pretty solid. It's hard to change them. But when you're a child, easiest thing in the world. I mean, we get kids to believe in Santa Claus all the time, right? So it's that kind of thing. We can just get them.
Wait.
Hey, what?
Are you saying Santa Claus does not exist?
Oh, I have never seen him.
Well, I've never seen God.
Yeah. But you can feel his presence, I'm sure.
Santa? Robert, I'm done. Anyways, it's Satan Claus. Don't tell your kids that.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. It's like, so you got to be careful when they're in school, because that's when you get them. That's when you could train them. And you see that, and certainly in college, you see them go in and they love their parents. They're close to their family. And when they come out of college, their hair is blue and they're pierced and they hate their parents. They don't want to talk to them anymore. I mean, it's just like, no, they didn't get indoctrinated in there. What are you talking about? Well, of course they did. The whole system's designed for that. So they don't want them to be strong-minded. They don't want them to be independent thinkers. It's dangerous to their cause. Yeah.
Very true.
All right, my friend. Are we ready for you to take the time?
All righty. So today I want to cover the UniParty lie. That's right. What is the UniParty? Well, in my opinion, it is the fact that the Democrats and Republicans are in cahoots regarding policymaking. They play a shell game of sorts, acting as if they are divided. Ooh, we're divided. But when it comes to their hidden New World agenda, they really are in lockstep. Now, oddly enough, the Republican leaders call the Democrat Party what? The UniParty. Why? Because they are unified in their votes and their rhetoric. I'll tell you what gives me major pause, though. The fact checkers agree with the Republicans. Makes you want to say, doesn't it? It's weird. So if we know what we are looking for, we can recognize this as a classic diversionary tactic. So we are definitely watching a movie. Yet I'm not referring to the one prevailing movie in the truther community. In fact, the UniParty construct is less of a movie and probably more like a long-running 50-year political drama. How so? Virtually every federal congressional legislator and most state politicians from both parties are playing a part. That's right. They are actors. I would contend that over 50% of county and city officials are also compromised, paid off, and playing their role as well. So we must understand that these are extraordinarily high-paid actors. Just like Hollywood, the higher paid, the dirtier they are, and the more propaganda they are pushing on us. To give you an idea, year after year, drunk, disgusting, and dirty Nancy Pelosi and her husband Paul average, listen to this, they average 67% growth year after year in their stock portfolio. They have amassed a net worth upwards of $250 million. Not bad for a public servant. Now, for perspective, the most well-known investor in the world, Warren Buffett, only averages 20% growth in the market, and he's considered highly successful. So ask yourself, how is it possible that the Pelosi's perform at 335% more than Warren Buffett? How is that possible? Now, the following questions may answer the prevailing question. Why can't the money be tracked that goes to Ukraine and all the other wars and the port projects? Why was $3 trillion completely untraceable in 2001 prior to 9/11? This goes on at the federal level and it trickles all the way down to the local level. I would contend that virtually every Fortune 1000 company, NGO, and extraordinarily high percentage of unelected officials are in on it. We are talking trillions of dollars of illegally printed currency, and taxpayer dollars are all in play here. Trillions. So when any Republican claims that the Democrats are the UniParty, they are intentionally misleading you. The Democrats are the satanic party, and most Republicans are the backstabbing, lying party. In fact, many are better actors than the Democrat counterparts because they have convinced their constituents that they are for the people and the Constitution when they well know they're only for themselves and they're controlling puppeteers. So ask yourself, how is it possible that every single Republican voted to have Mike Johnson, a Zionist-controlled rhino, installed as Speaker of the House? How is that possible? We must be completely aware that the players at virtually every level of government are perpetuating a massive psyop on the American people. First, they create the illusion of division, and they use the mainstream media to perpetuate this narrative. Black versus white, church versus everything else, and of course, red versus blue. Always vote themselves a raise and give themselves the best health care plan, the best pensions, and tax breaks that they can possibly find for themselves. They eliminate real oversight. They hold fake hearings, take many vacations, grow their personal net worth, and have very cozy relationships with their donors. As Biden would say, come on, man. I would venture to say that 75% of society has conservative values, 75%. Yet, for some magical 50-year coincidence, elections are usually very close. The term swing state is absolutely a bullshit psyop. Do you really think elections are always about 50-50? Sorry, no frickin' way. Red in states and counties, yet the total vote is 50-50. The pundits will tell you it's because the Democrats control the large cities. And there is some truth to that. But the fact is the 50-50 psyop is set up to make it easier to do what? We the people. If they get us to believe we live in a wacky 50-50 perfectly divided world, we will easily accept the outcome that is divergent from our values. We must, as many say, understand that we are being played. Folks, there is one party, and that is it. It's the UniParty. I disclose this so we never again blindly vote red or blue. We will take back our systems. We'll restore the constitutional laws that were in place prior to 1871. Then and only then do we support those with the proven value set that we have. We will look at the fruits of their labor and not their BS words, not their phrases, and definitely not their spell casting. Now, this is not all doom and gloom. We are in a beautiful but hard transitional period right now. People are awakening. They're awakening to this agenda, and the deep state cabal knows it. I do believe President Trump already took down the Federal Reserve, and many are playing a part for the good guys. I also believe you are seeing the systematic destruction of the Democratic Party, and it's intentional, which some may fear, rightfully so, that it will create a vacuum and then will be filled with a much worse entity. Actually, I believe this is our time and one time only opportunity to eliminate all parties. As soon as the one is destroyed, we the people go after the other. There's no reason for parties. If people truly are going to live independently and sovereign, then parties are unnecessary. Parties are for manipulation and lazy voters. We must take ownership of our vote under a reform system, of course. We've got this if we work together to achieve these goals. Of course, only if you agree.
Of course, Lewis, we agree. I wonder what it would look like not to have any parties, though, because that's kind of an interesting concept. I keep playing with that one. I'm like, well, you know, you have to have a yin and yang, right? The kind of thing. And it's like, if you have no party, but I mean, I know the parties are really where the corruption is, because you can't be a candidate in a political party without checking all the boxes and playing by all the rules. But I guess you could have two different independent people, two different viewpoints,
but why
two different perspectives.
Why need a yin and I don't think we need a yin and yang. Here's why. Because I really do believe we're in a 75-25% system. Right. I don't believe it's 50-50 by any means. So what happens if when you don't have a party, what you're going to do is, by the way, it should go under a blockchain system, so it can't be manipulated. But if you don't, the voting I'm talking about, if you don't have a party, you have people actually have to do the work before they vote for somebody. You can no longer be lazy. You can't just check that mark, right? They're going to have a website. They say, this is what we do. Check to see if their fruits are. Now, what we could have is we could have independent verification organizations to say that they are 80% true, 90% true, or they're 100% on board. And I think I and our teams will play a part in developing those going forward, right? But their values are their values. And what we need them to know is just tell us your values. But also say, you know, this may be my value. If they're going to be honest, my value is homeschooling, right? But if we, the people, want public schooling and it's under a good entity, then I will support that. And they can be honest about that. The problem is what they do, as you know, well know, Robert, they go in the direction they think is going to capture their vote. But when they get in office, they do something completely different.
Correct.
I think times are changing here. And me personally, I don't think we need the division anymore, and we should try a no-party system for at least a couple decades.
I'm done with this system because it does not work at all. I mean, there's no point of, there's no part of it that I can say, well, this is working. Well, there really is no part that's working. All of it's broken and infiltrated and manipulated and corrupt and on and on and on. So it's hard to look at this system and say, oh, we could just reform it. We can't reform it. Too far.
Got to tear it down.
Yeah. And how often has reform worked anyway? I don't ever remember it working.
Well, and who are the reformists, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest question.
Yep.
Because, we're the reformists. We're going to take care of everything for you. Oh, but then we manipulate it to work for our people. Yep. It's just the way it works. Tear it down. Tear it down,
baby. Tear it down. Hey, if you're one of those people who got the... and you're a little bit concerned about it, one way to kick out the spike protein is SPG Sense pine needle extract. And no, Lance will not talk about this because just the world that we live in. But I'm not a doctor, so I can talk a little bit more about it. This will help with respiratory function. Hint, hint. Helps promote a healthy immune system, which is important, right? Always want to keep the immune system as strong as possible. That your immune system has to fight off every single day. Might as well boost it. How about keeping your brain and nervous system in good health? Well, this is a cool supplement for that, and also helps with detoxification. Detoxification of what, you might ask? Well, I just told you. So if you're worried about it, this is one thing you can do. There are many things, but this is one thing you can do to help. By the way, it tastes really great. I take a dropper in the morning, sometimes a dropper in the afternoon, and don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about doing much else. SPGAscent.com, you want to find out more about it. SPGAscent.com. And if you are having a problem with that URL, we've noticed some people have been saying, hey, it doesn't really work. Instead of HTTPS, which is a secure socket layer, just go HTTP:// and you should be able to get there. We're working on it. Lisa's got it in her to-do list, and she'll get around to getting it fixed. We will make it work for you. And we thank Lance and his company for supporting this little show of ours because we couldn't do it without him. Thank you, Lance.
Yep. Lance is nothing less than awesome.
Yep. He absolutely is. All right. This is a video that Tik Tok Ban. Do you think TikTok's on our side? A lot of people believe TikTok's on our side.
So what part do you think Tulsi Gabbard plays in this movie?
She's more and more I see her being on our side rather than the other side. And what I think what's curious about her is that her background, lifelong Democrat, Congresswoman from Hawaii, right? And seeing that shift, I think she's bringing people over. She's waking people up who used to follow her, and they're still following her, and now they're coming, to an awakening with her.
So what I find interesting, if you look into her background, she was a World Economic Forum member, right?
Yep.
That's scary. Lifelong Democrat and in the Air Force. Well, anybody understands the Air Force? That's probably the most deep state military apparatus that we have out of all the branches. That being said, I do believe what we're seeing is people have made a deal with Trump. And she's one of a few I can think about off the top of my head that met with Trump. And the next thing you know, the tone changed.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very, very interesting. Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Tulsi Gabbard, and several others were kind of going in a certain direction. They met with President Trump, and the next thing you know, their tone changed, which would and I say this often, would liken me back to what Robert David Steele used to say. I believe he's still alive, by the way. RDS used to say, without reconciliation, we'll never win this war.
Right.
So I believe there is some reconciliation, and the people that weren't pervasive in the deeds that they did, opportunity, if they play on the right side, to get off a little bit easier. So a lot of people call her controlled opposition, and I get why they would do that, by the way, because if you look at her history, that's what it looks at. She hasn't shown me that she's controlled op yet, because she's been saying all the right things as of late. So she may have made a deal with the good guys, which I call the gray hats. We'll see. So again, though, even if she is controlled op, you and I talk about it all the time. We can use what they say to our advantage, and then if we see something crazy like a crazy Dan Crenshaw or a Fox News, then you call them out on it, right?
Yeah.
But you can use their message to your advantage. So don't just throw. If you think somebody's controlled op, just don't throw them to the curb. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there is usable information that these people can supply. You just have to know how to parse it properly.
And that video being banned on TikTok was interesting too, because it goes against the narrative, right? The narrative is we want the trans people to have an equal right and to be able to compete in the women's leagues, and women are getting injured by it, and some of them are just giving up on their dreams and literally leaving athletics because of it.
Yep.
So it's interesting that TikTok would ban that message. I mean, that's kind of represents the majority of Americans from what I can understand.
Yeah, but the general TikTok audience, not the ones that we appeal to, the younger generation, probably there's a lot of pushback on there. So this also may have been something where they kowtowed to that generation just to keep all the messages flowing. By the way, not a fan of TikTok anyways. We keep getting knocked off of TikTok. So I know that they have an agenda.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure what it is, because a great example is this guy that was in his 50s that we just met, the bald guy I was talking about earlier. He said he got all his information from TikTok. So they're doing some good. So again, let's assume they are controlled opposition. Use them to your advantage and keep moving forward. I know, guys, it's tough. This is an information war, it's a spiritual war. It's emotionally and mentally a lot harder than a kinetic war. And of course, I give grace and good prayer to anybody that fought in a kinetic war. This one is emotionally tougher on we the people, though, because
you don't see them coming, so you don't know where they are. You don't know where it's coming. It's coming into your hands, literally, as you're holding your laptop or your iPad or your iPhone or your cell phone of any kind. I mean, it's just there. I meet people all the time, so I get all my news on Facebook, and I'm like, so you're completely uninformed, right? Oh, it wasn't on Google, I couldn't find it. Surprising, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Hey, tomorrow we got Ethan Lucas, part 2 of your conversation with him. That's going to be fun. What you going to tell us about that, Louis?
I think it will be. So, Ethan and I are doing this series together. We don't know how long it will last. And really what it is we call it We the People Are the Plan. So, and we really are. So the whole trust the plan thing, we've proven on our last episode, and I'm going to do a little TikTok on this that shows if you're a follower of Q, it says multiple times in there that it's up to you, not up to a savior, not up to somebody riding in on a white Pegasus, not up to President Trump, not even up to the military. It's up to you, we the people. So we need to grasp that message and make the difference. And I've been saying, as you know, for several years, the trust the plan always meant we the people. Now, I don't know if I got a beautiful download from God because I never read the drops before. Think of that. But I knew that. That's not me. That's the higher entity giving me that message, right? Which is beautiful. I think if we all open ourselves up to it, all of us are going to get messages like that. I'm not special in any means in regards to that. I'm just open to it.
If you believe in Q, so it's up to you. There's your slogan.
There you go.
Wednesday, Kim Yater's joining us. She's going to be talking about the border and something big coming up there. Right.
Yeah, and we may have a big announcement with Kim Wednesday. Think Unity Tour. It's maybe because we're I'm reaching out and trying to unify patriots and some of these larger entities so we can all be on the same page. We had a conversation this morning. She just absolutely loved our message on the Unity Tour. So we, in fact, this Saturday, guys, I would tell you to meet us in San Ysidro for the Take Our Border Back events. The free events. Come down there. I will be there. Robert will be there. Phoebe will be there. My wife will be there. A lot of our friends will be there. Let's come back down and support them. Say hi to me. Hang out with us. Whatever you want. We're going to have a good time and support them. I don't know what time I'll be there. We'll be there partial because Robert, myself, and friends and my wife and Phoebe are also going to attend another event that's about 15 minutes away. So, and that's the Mary Crowley event. So we'll be at both events on Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun for us, guys. So I would recommend you go to Take Our Border Back. What's their website? Do you have it there, Robert?
TakeOurBorderBack.com.
There you go.
Yep.
Go there, find out what's going on, and hopefully Kim and I have a big announcement on Wednesday that'll be exciting for everybody.
Does your wife know about that? Okay.
She does.
Okay, good. Thursday, we have the great Mr. Atwood, but we've got something else coming Thursday along with that as well.
Yes, so we have Mark Atwood that will be on with us at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern.
Our normal show time.
And then, right. And then Robert, Ethan Lucas, and myself, Louis Herms, will play the Trump-Biden debate live, and we will be your on-network trolls. And then we'll definitely we'll let you watch the debate. We'll have one or two comments before. Just so you know, I've already asked Ethan to keep it to 4 words or less during the debate. And he's smart enough, he may string 4 words together 10 times. I don't know. No, but seriously, we've Robert, Ethan, and I have all agreed that we're not going to talk too much during the debate, but afterwards we will have commentary and maybe a little bit before. So it'll be a lot of fun, guys. So come right here to this channel you're watching. We will be simulcast on many channels. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Take Our Border Back. Yeah, Edward posted it in chat. Thank you, Edward, for that. And I think after the debate, I'm going to need some refreshment. What do you think, Louis?
Oh, love it.
I love
You
it.
know what? I do need to cool down, and this does work like that. I
Yeah, it
tried
does.
this
It does have that
in
impact on you.
Florida.
Phoebe's been using this and it's been healing some scars on her that are recent. And she's just like, working out in the garden, getting cuts and things like this. The skin healing with this is crazy. This is Neumi Skin. And glutathione product, really, really good for healing. Helps you with your facial stuff. It helps you keep your skin tight, brightens. It actually lightens the skin up a little bit and reduces the appearance of wrinkles and also lightens up dark spots if you happen to have those. And as we're learning now, if you have cuts and scars and that kind of thing, it helps with that as well. That's for the skin. But you need glutathione internally too, so we have NutraSwish, which you can take under your, put it in your mouth, swish it around under your tongue. It gets absorbed sublingually and goes right to work, right to your liver, bypassing the digestive system, which is a challenge with glutathione. Try to take it in a capsule form. There's a lot of it on the market, but a lot of it gets destroyed. 70-80% of it gets destroyed as it's being digested, so you don't get the full benefit. So this is a cool delivery process that they have. We're big fans of Neumi, and we thank them for supporting our show. And you could find out more about them. You'll have links in the description on whichever channel you're watching this on, and we appreciate your support as well. All right.
Yep. As Robert said, we simulcast on several channels. Real quick on the Neumi thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting enough, Bruce pretty much cut his fingers off.
Yep.
Right, and he'd taken Neumi internally and sprayed his fingers, and he's had miraculous results. Phoebe's having great results. By the way, I never considered this. So what happened is our good friend Kevin Pasco knows I like knives, and he gave me an amazing pocket knife. I love it. I'm opening the package, and it slipped, and it literally on my palm, cut me all the way to the bone. That's how deep it went, and that's how sharp it is. That was about, I think, 3 weeks ago, maybe. I sprayed Neumi on it, and oh, by the way, it was bleeding for, I think, 2 or 3 days straight. And finally, I said, well, let me just try the Neumi. It not only stopped bleeding, you can barely see the scar. I think the scar will probably be gone. Hold on a second. Got to get my hand in place. There we go. So right there's a little teeny scar, and it's almost gone.
Wow.
So I didn't even know that, but it's incredible for cuts and scars and things like that.
Yeah, it's a really powerful supplement. So that's why we love promoting it and love getting the results from people. They send us their stories and let us know that they're having great success with it. And there are a lot of people who say they can't live without it, and I understand. Great product. So there was a story this weekend that President Trump said he'd already made up his mind on who he was picking for his VP candidate. Did you hear this story?
No, I didn't know that.
Ah, well, he did. He said he picked somebody already for VP. Kind of interesting. This is a guy they're saying he picked.
Oh, I thought he was going to pick the frog from Q.
Well, that would be an interesting pick, wouldn't it?
Is that Vivek Ramsaway?
Yep, Vivek Ramaswamy. Interestingly enough, during the primary, he was the only one who didn't criticize Trump.
Well, he not only didn't criticize Trump, he literally didn't criticize Trump. He was a Trumpette the whole time.
Yep.
During the debate.
Yep.
Now, again, think about this, guys. He's a big pharma dude, and when it comes to his investments and so on and so forth, and another WEF guy. So I'd be very, very wary about that unless he is under control.
Right.
So this is a very slippery slope, and it's not fun to watch this. I understand completely. So, but we need to watch for that, because those are my two biggest concerns with him, right? And I believe he used to praise Obama. So we need to pay attention to that too. But we'll see. Trump hasn't announced it, so to me it means nothing yet.
No, it was things like, well, Trump's plane flew into Ohio. We went for a private meeting. Ramaswamy's in Ohio. There were, putting two and two together is where all this came from. So it's not confirmed. So don't be upset yet. If you don't like this guy, may not be the pick. Who knows? But we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't see Trump doing the standard pick where I'll pick somebody that has a lot of pull in a state in order to grab that state, because he's going to get every state. So I don't think that he's going to go down that route. I mean, he didn't need Indiana, really, and he took Mike Pence. Come on.
Yeah.
Probably took Pence to expose Pence, would be my...
Well, he didn't know Pence beforehand. He was apparently told that would make a good pick. And he listened. You know, Trump made a lot of mistakes in his first term, and the biggest of them was listening to his advisors.
Yeah, if that's even true. So that's the challenge, and you're right.
We don't know.
If this has all been a plan, he wasn't listening to bad advice. He was intentionally placing in people to expose them. If it's what I think, and it's a little bit of both, like there has been a plan. The military is working in the background. Trump's doing good work in the background, and they still are picking people. I think they've been. Here's my point. They wouldn't let all these people over the border if they're 100% in control. They would not have let Lahaina being burned down by direct energy weapons if they're 100% in control. There's nobody out. There's no opium seller out there that can convince me of that.
Right.
So those are two great reasons, and I don't think all these people.
Right.
So that being said, I think that's why we have to see there's a bigger picture. There's a chessboard control is a little different than physical control of everything. I believe there's a lot of rogue actors, and as we've said many times on this program, it's like taking down the mafia. They took down the head and level of the mafia, but then they work out harder because 3, 4, and 5th tier are vying for the top positions, and they're like cockroaches trying to take them out.
Yep.
I liken this war to something more than that. So yes, we've won as long as we, the people, get involved and take ownership.
Right. Yeah. Mario, former governor of New York, saying the case should never have been brought against Trump. Hey, that's kind of funny that you have a staunch Democrat saying that. You know, and his side's the one propagating all this stuff.
Well, wasn't that Chris Cuomo?
That was Mario, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. He looks like a young guy. How much adrenochrome has that guy had?
Oh.
I thought it was Chris Cuomo. Regardless, this shows you that the good guys are winning, because there's no way. Now that guy may just try to be saving his ass, or he may have been flipped. I don't know the answer to that, but whatever it is, it tells you that the good guys are winning when that video even hits out there. That's crazy.
Literally fighting over who's going to steal the package. Oh my.
Well, maybe I'm right. I've seen this about 4 times, but I picked up on something different this time. I think there was 2 packages and they both got one.
No, he grabbed the planter. This is what he grabbed. He was going to hit him with the planter.
With the guy on the right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because he seemed like he took it and hopped over the bush with something in his hand.
Yeah, he had the planter. He was going to hit the guy with the planter, and then he just dropped it and ran off.
Okay. Wow. Crazy. Well, that's all they have to do, especially in California. Just follow FedEx trucks around, and since you're allowed to steal up to $925, you're probably pretty safe.
$950 is the law. Now they're saying it was the population of California that voted that in. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why would we do that?
Oh, yeah, why? Whatever.
Oh, wow. Brother. Crazy, huh?
Very crazy.
Well, that brings us to the end of our Monday show, and look forward to seeing what you and Ethan bring to the table tomorrow. I'll be back with you guys on Wednesday, and then Thursday for a double header. And then Friday, I'm sure.
Yes, it's going to be a fun week. So tomorrow we have Ethan Lucas. Wednesday we're back here, and we have a guest, Kim Yater from Take Your Border Back is going to be here. Then Thursday we're going to have Mark Atwood, and then in the evening we are going to play live the presidential debate. I mean, what an amazing week, and how blessed are we to be here.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, all of you, for watching. We appreciate you. Appreciate you liking, following, and making sure you are following our channels. And we'll be back tomorrow with another great show. Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you.